Alright, on the underside of the air compressor, the AC compressor, there's a 10mm bolt to one of the AC lines that goes to the high side or low side, but it's a solid hose. You got to get that loose in order to, and I'm going to take the clip off of it first, so that way I can unplug it. And it basically looks like you just push a tab in on the bottom side, pull it up towards you and slip it out. That's all it looks like you do. Easier said than done. My clip, I pushed it in and then pushed in on it. I pushed the clip all the way in and then I pushed up on the tang and it come right off. So there's a 10mm bolt right behind that. And I'm just going to use a ratcheting wrench to take the steel line loose. Yeah, I like the ratcheting wrench. Now you can take the radiator out and all that other good stuff if you want. I'm not doing it. So far, everything's pretty much coming apart. There's a wire that's just pushed in on one of the studs on the AC compressor. I might take out the battery tray, but I highly doubt it. I think I'm going to be able to get it without doing all that. Like I said, I'm just taking the steel line loose so I can get it out of the way. Because you can't lift out where the bolt that takes the two lines into the compressor. Where the two lines go into the compressor, you can get the bolt out, but you can't get the lines free from that spot. So you have to take this bracket loose that's holding it to the compressor on the bottom side of it. So I'm just ratcheting it with a 10mm wrench. It's a long-winded little sucker, but it's coming. And I've just about got it. Now I'm sitting here smoking while I'm doing it, so I got smoke in my eyes. If I can do it with a cigarette, you can do it with anything you want. And the nut is loose. So I'm just going to turn it with my fingers and get it the rest of the way off. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. And here you go. It's just a little 10mm nut. That took the line loose, get the bracket off of it, and there you go. You can move your lines now. Back out of the way. I'm not going to get crazy with it, but I am going to move it so it's free enough I can get to the other bolts of the compressor. Now I get those 3 bolts out of the compressor, we're done. I'll get the bottom one first because it's the hardest. Take this loose so I can move this hose out of the way. Push in on that. You gotta pull this one out and then that'll slip off. So I pull that one out so that way I can move this hose back over here. That gives me extra room. That's nice. Now I can get that ratcheting wrench on there. That worked pretty good. Yep, that's perfect. That's for the front one. Got that one out of the way. Like I said, I'm going to take the bottom ones off first, so that way I can get the top one. That one will be left. I'm screwing this out by hand actually now. Once you get it loose, it seems like it'll come right out. But I haven't got the back one yet. So, let's see. Look like they're pretty long studs too. Studs might have to come with the compressor. Not sure if they're going to hit the frame or not. But, got it. Oh, the front one come out, it's the long one. It's definitely a long one. Now, we'll go to the back one. It's, like I said, it's got a wire on it. You just pop that out. Just wiggling it back and forth. Hopefully it'll pop off. did. But I think the wire loom held on to it, so yep, sure did. The wire loom actually broke, it's brittle, but I turned it counterclockwise and it come off. So that won't be going back on there because it just kind of broke. So, but I'm gonna put my ratcheting wrench back in there, just loosen it up. Looks like it's ratcheting wrenching it. That's all I'm doing. Make sure you're on it straight, otherwise you'll strip it. I could have hooked up a ratchet and all that good stuff, but I didn't want to be off at an angle on it. So now that I've got it loose, I'm just screwing it out with my fingers. And there you are. There's number 2. I'm going to check to make sure the back and the front are the same length. The back one is shorter. So be careful because the back one is shorter. So I'm going to stick it back in there just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure the back one's shorter now that I've taken it loose. And it is. The back one is shorter. It's a shorter length than the front one. So remember that when you put it back together. The back one is a shorter stud. I'm going to put that one up there. And now I'm going to take off the top one. There's only 3 in it, I believe. Remember, I already loosened the top one, so now all I gotta do is just take the top one loose. Looks like it's on a guide pin, so if that's the case, I can push it up in there, take out the nut. However, this one didn't want to bring the stud. This one's just a nut, which is dumb the way they did it. I don't like that at all. So now I gotta take the stud out, which is not cool. But since it's mounted in aluminum, I'm gonna put a little finisher on that. Everything was going good till that stud didn't want to come out. So slide the AC compressor back up there. Hope the hell we can get that stud out of there. Okay, looks like it's a 5mm. Best way I can see to get this thing out, I think I'm going to take the bottom one, put it back in. So this back up here. Screw the bottom one back in. Try it that way. Just screwing it back in by hand, the bottom front one, so I can get the top stud out. It looks like the top stud wants to be a little pain in the butt. So that's all nice and fine. But now I've got my compressor staying where it's at. Alright, maybe screw that top one out. I got the nut off of it, but I want to screw it out. Okay, there we go. Got the top one out. Now we'll go back for the bottom. Now what I did was I used a breaker bar to get it loose enough that I could spin it with my finger And then I just put the socket, another 5mm over the top of it and spun it with my finger. And I put it back in. That's just the way it goes. Looks like it's going to be a little fun. But it is working. So now we go back for the bottom one. And we take the compressor out. Just going to hold it back in the grooves. Screw that one. There's the top one. Now for the easy part. Pull it out. There you are. Wasn't the easiest thing, but it wasn't the hardest thing. Just a little work with it. And there you have it. That's how you get it out. We'll start putting it back in when I get everything set up. Okay, I'm on the passenger side. Just wanted to show you where the orifice tube is. Mine was red on here. You have to take this fitting loose. What I took out was I took the overflow reservoir, or your coolant reservoir. I took that and moved it out of the way. You got like 3 bolts down here, and you got another bolt that's back here on the back side. Take those 3 bolts out, take that bracket loose, and there's also another bracket that's farther back up in here. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, so I'm going to turn on that, and there's a bracket right there. Take that bracket loose. There's a 10mm nut or 11mm nut underneath. Back that out, take that loose so you can take that loose. Like I said, that is right there. You can lift it up enough to get the orifice out and put the new orifice in. I'll show you what the old orifice looked like. There we go. There's the old orifice. You can clearly see there's metal in it. So blew that out, put a new one in it.